Here.
Ronnie has one daughter and one son. Okay, because she's the COO. She gave me that look that I don't have daughters. So I'm gonna get that out the way too. Now going back, I hope you forgive and forget.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, and I think you, Mark, you have to measure it. That means that you have to use it. You know, we both work together and with alternative children. And a lot of them have gone through things with their mothers, and their fathers have left them. A lot of fathers have left them.
Well, see, here's the thing about that. There's no perfect families on the planet.
That's correct. That's correct.
And one of the things I try to share with the kids and with men in trouble is that sometimes we look at other people. You know, the grass always looks greener
Yes,
on the other
does.
side.
Yes, it does.
But we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and then there's that factor that what may hurt you,
Right.
as a man, may not hurt me, but the hurt is still important to you. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
correct.
It's still
That's right.
impactful. So again, that we have that unrealistic expectations of ourselves.
That's correct.
Thinking, and then there's the selfishness involved that tells me that what I'm going through is more than what you're going through. So
Yes.
so it kind of keeps us separate.
Yes.
And
yes.
unable to assist each other in the process.
And we're not able. We have to measure everything. We just did some looking up numbers, and we found out that I think what's that country, young Paul? Where the African country, they make 3 cents an hour, only 3 cents an hour.
Syria alone.
Yeah, right. They make 3 cents an hour. Another place they make 28 cent, only 28 cent, and India 28 cent an hour. So everything has to be measured. When we talk about forgiving and forgetting, the forgetting part, we all have to measure it and be able to understand that that is something in your toolbox, your testimony toolbox, that you'll be able to use later. It might be with a wife, or it might be with another family member. It might be with a friend. It could be with anybody. So it is unequivocally important that we know how and when to use that, and not use it as a dagger. That's what happens when we're talking about, and when people have been going through trials and tribulations, and they say, I do forgive you, but I haven't forgotten. And since I haven't forgotten, well, so what are you going to use with that? Since you haven't forgotten, are you going to use that to terrorize me, to hurt me back? You know, and then we get into this revenge mode. You know, actually, Trump is very good at that. You know, if you come at me, I'm going to come back at you. You know, so I'm not having any graciousness. You know,
he's sensitive.
Yeah,
right?
sensitive. Like now I know I think 95% of black females are going to vote for Clinton. Maybe 98% are going to vote for Clinton. You know, because she's a female. And because Oprah loves her, you know what I'm saying? You know, and Michelle is hugging her, you know what I'm saying? So, but what it is the same thing is that we have to be able, even when it comes to forgetting, how do we decode those situations? How do we, as you said, how do we know when and where to use it in reference to forgetting and not getting caught up? You know what I'm saying? Because we have road rage, because folks, you know, they said, man, because they're upset and not forgiving the person, and you know, so many incidents that happen in life, brothers killing brothers, white guys killing white guys, domestic violence, because people are not going to the next level of, I really forget you, I forget this situation. So we just have to be able to measure it properly, Mark, you know.
And you know, the last bit on that forgetting piece, or one of the things that I try to remember to, when I'm talking to folks about that forgetting piece, there's a difference between forgetting, trying to make ourselves forget, and not living in that moment. That's what we're directed to do.
Correct.
We're not necessarily directed to forget the incident. We are directed to not live in it, not to live in the past.
That's correct.
Not to live, you know, in what happened to us. So although there may not be our forgetting as we move through it, and one of the amazing things I found about our God is when we go to Him in respect to the forgiveness piece, and we are asking for the willingness for him to give us the willingness to forgive, then we can look back on those things properly.
That's correct.
And the proper looking back on anything that we've experienced is seeing where God has moved us through that particular incident and giving praise and giving
Yes.
glory and honor, and then allow him to incorporate that into our personal testimony of overcoming through the cause of Christ. So the direction is not to forget. Direction to forgive. The direction from God is not to necessarily forget, but as a reminder for us not to live in anything, in the past of anything that has happened to us. And there is a difference between remembering what has happened to us and actually living
That's
back
correct.
there in that
Correct.
in that moment. Am I making sense? Jim?
Yes. And the point that you made before, Mark, is profound. And that is that we have to, in the forgetting phase of it, we have to understand that is a lesson. I always say that no experience is a bad experience. All experiences you can learn from, but we can't put ourselves in a bottle and say this has only happened to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, this that I've been hurt, that I've been raped, that I've been robbed. This has only happened to us. And the reason I mentioned that African country where the people only make 3 cents an hour, and in India, the lowest wage, next lowest wages, they make 28 cents an hour. Everything has to be measured, where you can have an overall perspective of who you are, where you are, and where you're going to be going. And when you are in front of people and you're saying that I forgive you, but I'm not really going to forget what happens, and then I'm going to use it as a tool to hurt you, then that's
We're
that's
wrong.
a problem. We're wrong. That's a problem.
We are wrong when we do that. And the sad thing is, John, is that we hurt ourselves more
That's correct. That's right. That's right.
than anything else. I like what one of my mentors told me some years ago. He said, this was at a time of my spiritual development where I needed to mature in that area. Because again, I like to remind folks I haven't always been a saint. I know that you might need a pillow for that, like that. You might need a pillow for that. But I haven't always been a saint, and I was struggling with a lot of forgiveness. And my buddy said, well, one thing you've got to remember, Mark, is you want to try to do is stop letting people live rent free in your head.
I like that.
Yeah, because
Can I
the
use
bottom
it?
line is, no, you can't use that. that's got a patent on it. Because one thing we have to remember too is as long as we're allowing, we're living in the past and we're allowing the past situations to exist in our heads, then they're actually controlling us. And I just don't like to be controlled by anything except the Spirit. I have a problem with that.
Sure. Man, I like that a lot.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah, you can actually use that.
I can use that, man. Yes. And Mark, to echo on that, it's a lot of bullying that we hear about. And I had some children, and I told them, he said, they call me this and that. And I gave him something, and I said, if I give you something and it's like a pizza and it has bugs on it, I said, would you accept it? He said, no, Mr. Hunt, I wouldn't accept it. I said, so when someone calls you a name, until you accept it, it still belongs to them. He's a 4th grader. He said, oh, I never heard that before.
Okay.
Yeah, so people have to understand, as you just said, don't accept those things. Don't let folks rent free.
Yeah.
And this is no rent free stuff, all right? If you give me something, if it's bad, I don't need to accept it.
Okay.
It still belongs to you.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And so what we have here is a battle of cliches. You heard mine, you heard John's. You can vote on who's the best. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I always appreciate your insight, John.
Yes, sir. Appreciate yours too, Mark.
The last thing we want to mention about forgiving and forgetting
Yes,
is, as you research in Scripture about remembering, you will actually see more of God's directions to remember where you came from.
That's
and
right.
what He's done
Paul.
for us.
Over and
Amen?
over again, Paul, yeah.
Over and
Over
over
and over
and
again.
over
Yes, sir.
again.
Yes, sir.
Again. The difference is that we the difference is that we are not to live in the past. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. So that concludes our segment on forgetting and forgetting and forgetting. We got a lot of activity going on in here. This is always a hot topic, but stay tuned. We've got more good music on the way. We've got a segment of TripGear coming up, and we thank you very much for joining us on SMP3.
I'm telling you what's going to happen. It's going to be a debate between black on black and SMP.
I love it.
Dang, that segment had 43 views.
Really? God is awesome.
They gonna blast y'all.
Yeah, I know. They gonna blast John.
Nah, they gonna blast
I did my disclaimer.
You the one talking about
Oh, that's what the
I
crib.
said, oh Lord, he got David Hampton on here.
Oh.
I said, oh Lord. Brothers, I do not consider that I have made it my own, but one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and turning forward to what lies ahead.
That's what they always throw out. That's the first one they throw out.
Nah, I gave you another one. See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it many become defiled.
Now, what was that you showed?
the one he just
Same,
said.
just one you just read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all just keep stepping.
But and then I just say, if the main thing is you just follow the example. My question to you before was, what was the example? Did when we're forgiven, is our past brought back up on us?
Well, here's
we're forgiven.
the question I have when this conversation comes out. Is it more like Christ to forgive something that you barely remember? Or is it more like Christ to forgive something that you remember vividly?
He's going to forgive both. But
Gonna
my
forget.
question, right? My question is about the forgetting, not the forgiving part. Is,
No, but that's
But my question is our that's my original question. Once he forgives us, is our past brought back up? Does he remember what it is we've done once we've been forgiven?
yes. He
He does.
remembers.
So he brings it back to
remembers.
us.
No.
So
You-
Hebrews
this
8
is
and
a
12 says, for I will be merciful to their unrighteousness and their sins and their iniquities I remember no more.
Okay. So the penalty of the sin. The penalty of the sin is what God forgets. Remember, because our sins.
It says their sins and their iniquities I remember no more.
Remember, when we go to heaven,
Which-
he's not going
which
to
is-
talk to us about the things we did wrong. He's
But
gonna
see,
talk
this
about
is a.
the-
But you're asking
our works.
You're asking a 2-point question, and I'm trying to answer.
Okay, but mine was 1 point. It was the forgetting. I already know he forgives. We both agreed that he forgives us. My question was on the forgetting part.
I was trying to answer.
Okay, but no, you said it was a 2 point. I'm saying it was a 1.
Okay, but I'm still trying to answer.
I'm listening.
Dang, she tried gangster, Brother Mark.
Ooh, hang on. No, we just gonna go.
Well, I was trying to get you back, man, from other weeks. If she was by herself, and you and Byron was gangster in her, man.
Well, your nose is not gonna let you out this door. It's the Pinocchio hand.
You see, he done said yeah. I'm like, I'm just gonna let them go.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. That was almost smooth.
So we believe, right, that God doesn't forget anything that we've done. God forgets the penalty that comes along with the inequity and the sin. So my question back to you is, which is more like Christ, to forgive something that we barely remember, or to completely forgive something that we remember vividly that happened to us.
He's gonna forgive both. I guess I'm confused with your question. He's gonna forgive something that we
No. We're talking about us now.
Right.
Which is more like Christ.
Forgiving something that you remember vividly.
Okay.
Yeah, because
That's
he was
all.
forgiven as he was vividly getting crucified.
Okay.
Correct.
That's all.
Let's get back on Jay-Z.
Yeah. Talk about Jay. Ain't right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm on your side when it comes to Jay-Z.
Jay-Z is a great example.
Great example of the side.
So, Greg, how you feel about the situation with Jay-Z and Kanye West?
I feel like,
Kanye.
I feel like people will always fall off eventually with if your personality is not aligned with trying to exude excellence, you won't be around Jay-Z too long.
And I can appreciate. I told you, we talked about that.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I gave you an example. Even though people have issues and they're not, saved and sanctified, get issues, I can appreciate some of the things that we do. I will let my child around that whole evil, that chick, nasty chick, Kim.
Look him, yeah.
And I won't let my children around her either. So I told him that. We talked about it. I brought Jay-Z up and gave him credit. I have no problem with giving folks credit. But at the same time, I'm gonna be like, this ain't like the best example, but I can appreciate that piece. Beyonce got some big issues, but they understand their children never played together, not once. I'm not having my child play over your house with that crazy chick. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm responsible for my child. So I'm not going to have them over there with Kim and her friends.
Beyonce ain't too far off.
Nah, they from different cloth.
Well,
I mean,
she
both
changed
cloths
her
are
walk.
wrong.
Yeah,
Both
she
cloths
changed
are
her
wrong.
walk.
Don't get me wrong. Both cloths. Hey, now, Ronnie, y'all the same one. Don's right here. Now watch this. Get a pillow. Watch this. You heard it, Greg. You heard it too, Mark. When Don and Ronnie was agreeing about the book, about the evil.
No.
Oh, you got to pick one of the evils.
No, I did not.
But who
say
said that? Who said
It
that?
was not me.
Right.
I don't
Man,
agree.
look.
Right? I said, I
That
was
was
not
Mark.
figure
But you
out.
were saying,
here's
oh,
some-
but you were like,
No,
We moved-
no. I've been arguing with my friends.
This is that forgiveness and forgetting. We've moved through that.
Right. I said, I know. I
We've
think I
moved
understood.
But you know what I'm
And
saying?
now you bring it
Yes.
back. Now you bring it back up again. That's a terrible statement. That's a terrible
It
statement.
is.
And I've never said that.
Say what?
What are you talking about?
The evil? I know you never said it.
Okay.
No, I
Hey,
said
you
Don
told me.
did. I said you heard it. I said, no, I know you didn't say it, Mark. I said that Don said, she said it. That we should pick between the two evils.
She didn't say we should.
She said
she just
pick.
threw that. That's
Right.
one of, to me, when I hear that, sometimes I
Right.
believe people say that by mistake. I understand what
Okay.
they mean.
Right.
I don't agree with that statement.
No, that's all I'm saying.
But I believe people say that by mistake. I know Greg has jumped on some folks tough one time about saying that. Greg
Yeah.
clicked and said he wasn't coming back. He said, I can hang out with y'all if y'all gonna talk about picking two evil and y'all suck as Christians.
That
And
sounds
I'm-
about right.
and I'm out.
Two evils. It's crazy. But
Greg
Kim,
went off. He went off.
but Kim,
But it's a point that if we're
But
talking
don't-
about, I'm gonna pick.
But
They're
I
both
agree.
evil.
I agree. I agree.
yeah.
I agree.
I mean, if you ain't got to vote, don't vote. I mean, ain't no law saying you got to vote.
It's really interesting because and I think therein lies where my issue is because it's if we vote, when we couldn't vote. You go back to Greg's article, which is really
This song?
yeah. You don't like that song? That's a good song.
That's my song, man.
Thanks, Kevin. Greg.
It's horrible.
Thanks, Kevin.
Go ahead.
Greg.
But you just what I like. Even when I told my daughter, the thing is this, or when I explain to people, when you pick a friend, Do you want a friend who you know, you're gonna pick somebody who you know they mean what they say and they say what they mean? You may not agree with everything, but you know where they're coming from.
They stand
Or are
for
you gonna
something.
pick a friend who's shady and they don't say what they mean and they may stab you in the back?
Yeah.
And everybody says, I'm gonna pick the friend where I know where they're coming from. Okay, so look at our two candidates. You have one who tells you exactly what he's gonna do, and then you have another one who's not telling you what she's gonna do, but her history speaks for itself. So then, why are you saying I'm gonna pick now a candidate who may stab me in the back later? At least I know what I'm dealing with if I come straight with Trump, because he's coming straight at me. With Hillary, you're gonna 4 years later, you're gonna wonder why the number to move from 2 million to 5 million. Right, you're gonna wonder why certain things happen. I'm not still saying vote for Trump, but what I'm saying is we have to quit saying it's the best of. I mean, we're picking the best of the evils. They're both evil. The outcome is still the same, and at least one you can spearhead. So, because Hillary, everybody will be asleep. If I vote for Hillary and I'm not paying attention, we're gonna find out stuff after it's too late. With Trump, your eyes are gonna be wide open because you know he's crazy.
If this was high
No,
school,
you're crazy.
if this was high school, and these were the two candidates, it'd be 0-0, and that'd be a point that the kids are making. That you need to get two better people, and we're not gonna put anybody in place. That's what should happen. It should be nobody should go. I mean, there's other things you can vote for that are important. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, well, you know, I'm not. You know, Greg made a point about the Asians ain't got the vote, the Jews ain't got the vote, and they still
I
in
never
power.
thought about that until you said that.
Yeah, they don't.
So that's my
They
point.
say,
It's because
"Oh,
the
that's
thing
the
is,
big-"
it's one of them things.
Right,
We're
it's
people
their
who we say, well, because they fought for it, we got to do it no matter what. We're just going to
But the
pick.
problem is that the misconstrued notion is they fought for the right. They didn't. They were fighting for civil rights, believing that through voting they get.
That's correct. That's correct. And find out it was true. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But found out it wasn't true
Yeah.
because there were
Yeah.
clauses written,
That's correct.
like the 13th
Amendment,
Amendment.
yeah.
That said, yeah, you might have all these, but we're gonna take it away
Yeah,
As soon as you go to jail.
as soon as you go to jail.
yeah,
And we're gonna try to put all y'all in jail.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
As
gonna
many as
try to kill you.
possible.
Right.
That's
We're
right.
either gonna try to kill you or we're gonna try to put you in jail. It's
You
so
know, they
many,
got
you know.
they arrested, was it the three girls here? It wasn't three girls that, Chicago robbed a lady. They 13, two of 13, one 13, two 15. And then the question is it's like they took a purse, there's no guns. And the question is, are they gonna try them as adults? One is 13 and two 15, Chicago. They talked about them, they
But
got
the people
7.
from the Olympics
Right.
just got a hold their kids.
Who?
At the Olympics, when they went to the gas station, what was the one
Oh, that crazy swimmer?
Yeah.
He got some issues anyway. That white privilege.
But
yeah.
right, but he was considered a kid then, grown.
Yeah.
But then you got 13 and 15 and
Yeah, no.
they're gonna be
I'm
adults.
like, what?
How they
Yeah.
adults?
It's a difference. It's crazy. The judicial system is sad. Once you get part of the system, it's ugly.
It's hard to get out.
Hard, man. This cat got a master's. He
What you
said,
got?
man, I can't do nothing.
Seconds. What you got? How much you got?
About a minute 30.
Oh.
Why, what's up?
No, I'm just hearing this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know, we had this
I'm
guy.
just going to,
Sick
I'm just
Prince.
gonna do a clean break. Just come in, do.
You know, Prince couldn't sing.
You said
Like
what?
this cat.
You said
Prince
what?
could. I didn't know it. Somebody told me that like 10 to 12 years ago that Prince couldn't sing. And I argued, said, man, they're talking. Then I listened to some of his live concerts. About 2 years ago. About a lot of them. Prince can't sing. Prince would,
Like this guy.
yeah, he would do things. Listen to some of just live concerts.
Like this guy.
I'm a Prince fan. You know what I'm saying? Prince can't sing. Let's do some live concerts. I argued this guy down. I argued him down. And I listened to live concerts. This homeboy
No,
talks
you
to a lot
don't
of this
need
stuff.
to, you don't need to,
No, I'm sorry.
you're not listening to that.
Yeah, but he talks to a lot of his music. Come on. Play it again.
You're listening to the SMP3 show here on the Black on Black Network.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Just doing a top of the hour thing. Right out of this, John, we will do a little bit of exchange and then go on the TripGear, man.
Okay. Are you gonna do the topics? Your 5 principles?
I think we missed that window again.
Okay.
TripGear, Bumper said he was running a little late,
Okay.
but he was on his way.
Okay.
Oh, Marvin said he forgot he was teaching Sunday school this morning. That's for you. That's for you, young Paul.
Man.
But I think that we have, like Liberty University, shouldn't have invited Trump to speak. Now, you have to still set standards, you got to,
Do you want which one of you? Because I finally got your music loaded, your sound bed.
Right.
So do you want the fast smooth or the love smooth or the talk smooth?
Oh, that's smooth on the brother.
Fast, love, or talk?
Actually, you can do the 5.
Okay.
Because I'm not reading, I'm gonna read something else that I just found out about. That, oh, let me see what I got in my bag real quick. No, other bag, all bags. I have a book in there.
For some reason,
What is
John's
this ratchet gangster
You say gang?
for some reason it's not coming over, John.
wanna be gangster rap type stuff we listen to?
Who's that?
What's this?
Who is that?
Devilish gangster rap.
No. You talking about Jay-Z now.
Got you.
He's the gangster, man.
Jay-Z was a gangster.
Jay-Z.
Now, if you don't delete that one Jay-Z song at our network, I promise you goodness.
Never.
Every time I
One
hear it, I
minute.
go home.
Gather round, I realize the 50 still living. They don't answer that old shit.
We got too much cussing in it.
Not enough in it for me.
Wrong with y'all.
Love Jay.
You love Jay, man?
It's like my brother from another.
Like your brother from another man. We all got
Yeah,
them
we gonna find
crazy.
out you're definitely
We all
another
got them crazy relatives, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
one. See that one out, son.
Nah, man. Nah, man.
Right, you made me cut him off about that. Like that's not from the devil, it's not from what you.
What? Oh, you threw up the
Yeah.
You're right.
The rock.
He is so passionate about his own glory that he gives to us the most prized and priceless gift.
Maybe he gonna be in the Illuminati.
Jesus Christ, the God-man, comes to earth to establish his kingdom in the hearts of people.
If the Illuminati, listen, the Illuminati, there is a secret society with the black people obviously don't know about it.
You silly, man.
Now,
30 seconds.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring that up now. Your boy.
30
Right,
seconds
Jay-Z.
going live.
For the former things that pass away, and he who was seated on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things.
Listen. Now we just